Okay, we're back. We missed about a month's worth of junk going on. So, congrats to JDM and Michael Morales and whatever. I'm not even gonna try and remember what happened. The sad thing is, I actually made those episodes. I just didn't have time to get them edited until the next week was upon us and work and everything was going on. But we're back now, and we're back for a good one. Or it was a big week for women in combat sports. There was the FPI 11 with Fionn Davies and um, Adele Fornerino as the first women's main event for that, and it was an okay event. But there was some good stuff on it. The main event had some controversy. I personally think they got it right, but the judges had some strange scorecards, and people didn't like it. But there was some other good stuff on there, like the Tackett had a really good takedown, back take, rear naked choke um, sequence against Achilles Rocha. But anyways, maybe we'll get to that separately. But what we're here to talk about is UFC Vegas Apex Fight Night women's main event number 4 Blanchfield, I think, in the flyweight division versus number 5 Macy Barber. And I know the reputation for women's fights is that they're boring. But when people say that, I don't think they're talking about this. I was kind of excited for this fight because Blanchfield, she's kind of got slow, stiff striking, but she's not afraid to get hit. And she gets in, she gets her takedown, and she gets, she tries to get after it. And then Macy Barber is a brawler, so she gets in and has good fights good out of the clinch, can do takedowns, can strike. She looks like an athlete. Um, Good snap to her strikes and things like that. So, anyways, I was excited to see how they improved, and it's a Apex main event. What else do you want? But the big news, straight out the gate, is that Macy Barber, as they're announcing them for their walkouts, they find out, or at least they give off the appearance that they're just finding out that Macy Barber is not medically cleared to fight. So main event, as it's being called out, gets canceled right there. And maybe that is the case. Maybe more news has come out. The only thing I saw was that she was either had a seizure or was having seizures or who knows what, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe the news will come out on that. But so it was canceled. There's your main event. Um, and then so anyways, it was a weird one with that being the main event. There was some other stuff, which there's always on events that people pull out or fights get canceled for whatever reason. But for this one, Barber also missed weight by half a pound. Nascimento missed weight by a pound and a half, and Ketlin Vieira missed weight by 10 pounds, or they changed it for I don't know for whatever reason. And then a bunch of the fights on what was already a weak card. Um, the ones that got pulled were maybe some of the exciting ones. But Andreas Gustafsson was supposed to fight Trevin Giles, but he had to pull out due to injury. And then Jeremiah Wells was going to fight him, but he just withdrew, which is fine. But then Balaji Oki, his first opponent, withdrew. So he ends up fighting Michael as well. He steps up to fight him. He got the fight call on Tuesday, they were saying. And also he's a featherweight, and he fought at lightweight for this one. And then Goff and Brahima, both of their opponents had visa issues, and so they ended up having to fight each other. I don't know what the notice on that was, but anyways, just a lot of wacky stuff for this one. But getting into it, the first fight of the night was women's fight. It was Alice Ardeline versus Rayan dos Santos, and this was a pretty good fight, or it was a fun fight for the women's. They were getting after it, they were pushing, they were trying to get a finish, or trying to do damage to each other. Um, and I think Arlene takes the first round. She's got the So it was like a left hook versus a cross, and Arlene was using the cross, and so it just, I think it had a little bit more snap on it, and it was like done more offensively instead of counter offensively. So it just looked like she had the more pressure. But Dos Santos fought back in the second round or something. I don't know. It was unanimous, but I can't remember if it took all three rounds. But it was fun. They were getting after it, and they got the fight of the night bonus. Next was Balaji Oki versus Michael Aswell. And this one, again, Aswell takes it on Tuesday, and he fights at featherweight. But despite that, it was still a pretty good scrap. It just, as the fight progressed, it just kind of looked like somebody fighting 10 pounds up. And the first round's really good. They both crack each other a couple times. Second round, Aswell starts laying off the gas a little bit, or it looks like the size is starting to get him. And then in the third round, it's just the most lopsided, but a good fight. So good to both of them, and definitely good for Aswell for stepping up and taking that. Then next was Jordan Levitt taking on Kurt Hallbaugh, and Jordan Levitt makes quick work of him. He starts the fight. He goes in and throws like a teep or something like that, and then shoots a takedown off the teep, gets him down off like a low sweep single kind of thing, and then gets around to his back, and then Hallbaugh's able to wrestle or get back up to his feet, and then Levitt has like a big suplex mat return, which was cool. And then he's trying to get the hooks in from the turtle position or whatever, but just on his back on the ground without hooks in. But Hallbaugh uses his right arm, and he grabs around to Jordan Levitt's right leg to like a high crouch kind of thing. So he's like trying to square himself up. And Levitt's able to feel this, and he just adjusts accordingly. So he switches his arm position from the right side to the left side, and as Hallbaugh's like squaring up with him, Jordan goes with it, and then goes into like a Tawara Geishi kind of like overhead. It's kind of like a suplex, but like from front headlock, he kind of just like rolls him over top to take top position, and then while he's doing this, he from the front headlock that he transitioned to locks up an anaconda. So by the time they flip over and stuff, he's putting that squeeze on him, and then chokes him out, chokes him unconscious. So good win from Levitt. Maybe he's getting back to, or bouncing back. Good from him. Hallbaugh's kind of old, and I think this was like a return for him anyways. So unlucky. Next, the last fight of the prelims was Alan Nascimento versus Jafel Filho, and this is a pretty good grappling scrap. Filho looked good. He just made some critical errors. In the first round, it looks like he maybe gets away with a cage grab, or maybe he uses his fist. I feel like I was seeing a lot of people, which is good technique if people are working on this, but just using their fist against the cage. Still using the cage, but just not using your fingers, just making a fist on it. But Filho does that whether he grabs or not. I can't tell. The commentary team doesn't say anything about it, so maybe he didn't. But anyways, he avoids a takedown with that, and then almost immediately after, he just kind of throws Nascimento to the ground. And as he gets to the ground, he gets like lands straight into mount. Then I think he tries to work some submissions, gets whatever he can do. But Nascimento's able to get back to his feet, and they grapple, clinch, or whatever. Filho was able to throw him to the ground again, and this time he lands directly on his back. Sorry if y'all can hear that. But so this time when Filho gets him down, he gets directly to his back, almost like with a rear naked choke like in. But Nascimento, this is towards the end of the round, Nascimento is able to defend, but as he defends, Filho transitions into almost locks him up in an arm triangle. Goes for it, looks good, but Nascimento again is able to defend, and then as he's defending, Filho is able to transition and almost does get to a mounted guillotine, but just isn't able to finish it. And then with like maybe 20, 15 seconds, something like that, Nascimento is able to escape, and that's the end of round one. So they look like it could have been like maybe an ass beating coming from Philho in the grappling department, but not the case. So second round starts, and Philho is able to get a takedown and gets him down and gets straight to his back. Um, within the first minute, for sure. But and being maybe too eager going for a submission, he goes for a rear naked choke and loses position, falls off the top. And once he gives position, that was enough to lose the round. So again, this is really early that he had position, lost it. And Nascimento does not make the same mistake. He stays on top. Um, doesn't do that much damage and doesn't threaten. I think he goes for like some weak, maybe like arm triangle thing, and it's maybe more off of Philho trying to escape or whatever, like escape. He's trying to like sit up or something. But anyways, Nascimento is able to control top position for the duration of the round, landing strikes here and there and like threatening, minor submission threats. So he takes round two. Going into round three, it's tied up. Philho was able to get him down and get to his back again, and makes the same mistake. Falls off, gets too high. I think he had a legitimate attack on this one at one point, too, but he falls off the top again. And this one he has a little in the second round. He doesn't show any real skills of being able to get up. In the third round, he does fight back a little bit more, and he tries. So this one transitions from maybe like half guard to close guard, and maybe he turtles. I think they're wrestled up against the cage for a while. He gives his back, trying to stand up, but Nascimento basically just through his control of top position takes the third round. So he lost the first round bad, was able to survive, and then answered back. Didn't make the same mistake Philo did. So he takes that. Good for him. Then moving into the main event, we had Zachary Reese defeating Dusko Todorovic. This was an okay scrap. Dusko had like a cool takedown in the first round, kind of Chimaev style. That was like a high kick into a takedown, which seems like it's probably like a difficult way to go about it. But that's maybe kicks to takedowns are our thing. That's how Jordan Levitt got his too. And then they did have this one had some same thing with the grappling scrambles. It was pretty interesting. Reese was really good at elevating and using like butterfly hooks to even when he got taken down, he was immediately able to kind of like throw, at least keep the scramble going in a lot of the situations. But this was kind of just like a cardio thing too. From round one, Dusko wins it because he gets a takedown. He lands some legitimate ground and pound with elbows and controls the round, ends the round on top, landing some pretty hard strikes, some hammer fists and elbows. Second round though, Reese comes out, does much better with his distance management, able to land the better shots, and it just looks like Dusko is fading. Then in the third round, it's just even more clear. There's not a ton that gets done. Maybe both guys are tired, but Reese just has the reach advantage maybe, so he's able to snap out some strikes and still do some damage, and Dusko just doesn't have anything left in him. So Zachary Reese takes that one by unanimous decision. Good win from him. Next up, we got Ketlin Vieira versus Macy Chasson, and this is kind of a shame too because these are two fighters, and the way that this one just played out was again, it's just with Ketlin Vieira, they moved this up to featherweight. Macy Chasson weighed like 142 pounds or something like that, I think. So she wasn't even at the max. Ketlin Vieira, I mean, they sacrificed the purse, but Macy Chasson was coming off, maybe coming off that win against with the elbow cut, whatever. So anyway, she just takes a loss from this, whatever, I guess maybe people would take this into account, but she was maybe on her way to getting to climb the ranks, but Um. Anyways, it kind of takes some of the merit out of the fight or whatever. I guess is what I'm saying. It was already a pretty boring fight. Um, Vera is just able to use her grappling, and she just looks like she's 10 pounds heavy. Is I guess what I'm saying. And then at the end of the third round, at the end of the fight, uh, Chasson is able to cut Vera open from bottom with an elbow, I think. So it looks like the more damaged person. She's able to get up at the end and she fights and she's like yelling to the bell out of frustration. So pretty. Again, this was just a weird UFC, like pretty unprofessional or very weird circumstances throughout. So, anyways, good win for Caitlin Vera, I guess. And then next up, we got Dustin Jacoby takes out Bruno Lopez with a first round knockout. This is funny. It makes me wonder like the mentality on some of these things because I know all fighters, it's a crazy thing to do. And it seems like what's even more crazy. It seems like this is a strategic thing that like you're trying to draw something, and then when you do draw it, you don't have an answer for it. So it's very confusing to me. But anyway, so as this was happening, Dustin Jacoby is circling to his left. He's like doing like kind of he's circling, but he's like doing retreating. He's on the back foot, and Lopez is tracking him. Like I'm walking him down, wanting him to throw a strike or something like that, so I can move out of the way and counter. Or like that's what seemed like what you're waiting on. Jacoby does throw that strike. He throws a jab, and Lopez is caught completely unaware that he was going to do that, and it stuns him, and that was it. So from getting rocked from that jab, he catches his balance, but it pushes him backwards into the cage too much, and from that, Jacoby just unloads. Lopez tries to clinch him a little bit, but he pushes off and gets a flurry off, and then eventually he finds a left hook that puts him down. So good win for Jacoby there. Next up, it was Ramiz Brahimov versus Billy Ray Goff, and these are the guys who both their opponents had the visa issues, so they ended up fighting each other, which is fine. But it's just gotta be annoying when you have to change. You get your opponent changed on you with whatever, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to prepare for something, then they just flip the script on you. But anyways, unlucky for Goff, but maybe lucky for Brahimov because he goes out. He was a big underdog, and Goff was throwing some lazy trash strikes, not meant to do anything, that are easily timed, and Brahimov's able to duck under a jab or shoot in behind it after Goff throws a lazy jab. Brahimov shoots in, gets a double leg, takes him down real easy, and then to Goff's credit, he's able to get back to his feet and even reverse his position, has Brahimov up against the cage, and maybe he lands like some knees or something like that, but he is keeping good position against Brahimov with his head underneath Brahimov's chin, but he goes too low and just hangs his neck, and Brahimov just grabs it up and pulls a guillotine the first time, which Goff is able to defend, but as he defends and pops his head out, Brahimov is able to like stand back up. He's still in like a disadvantageous. He's still against the cage, so Goff could maybe still work or get another takedown, and he does go for another takedown. He just moves his head to the other side and makes the same mistake. He just puts his head down too low, hangs his neck, and this time Brahimov goes to a ninja choke. And he's able to. The difference between this is you don't have to pull a ninja choke. You're able to do that while you're standing. And then in Goff, his defense, in order to alleviate the pressure, he has to lower his body further so he doesn't get cranked up. And then from that position, Brahimov transitions to a high elbow guillotine, and still from standing, so not giving up top position, does it while from standing, like kind of walks over top of him, and puts him out. Violent choke out submission. But he got the other, so both bonuses, he got the other bonus. So both bonuses come from the nasty chokes. So good win from him. Big underdog. He had like a nice little speech at the end. And that brings us to the main event of Mateus Gamrot versus Ludovic Klein. And this was good for Mateus Gamrot, good performance from him, but maybe raises some concerns. To me, Gamrot is quick when he goes for his shots. He kind of looks like, reminds me kind of like how Chimaev is. He shoots in and gets like straight to work. It's almost like too quick, because in this one he was moving around. It kind of looks like he tripped. Like the first takedown he gets, he trips and falls into. But he's just so quick that he just gets after it straight away from there. And then the first round, he wasn't able to advance position, but he was able to control Levitt up against Ludovic Klein. He was able to control him up against the cage. And landing some nasty knees to the ribs from the back. Gamrot was making good use of like a straight jacket kind of control, like controlling the cross wrist, so that he was like free to land some punches from the backside while he was pushed up against the cage. And then when he exchanged to like the rear waist lock and stuff like that, he was able to land some nasty knees. Looked like the knees that take the breath out of you just to watch them. That was the first round. Second round, Gamrot's able to get him down again. And this time he controls him mainly from top, like half guard position, and is able to get some good offense, good strikes. And this is good from Gamrot because a lot of times he's not great at actually holding somebody down. He can get people down, kind of Marab style, get him down, let him up, get him down, let him up. But for this one, for the first 2 rounds, he was able to get him down or control him for the duration of the round and do some pretty good work while controlling him, or land some good offense. But this is where the concerns come in, is because at the end of the second round, with like 30 seconds left, Ludovic Klein's able to get up, and he knows that he's down 2 rounds, and he's got to make up some ground. So he goes in, he starts throwing strikes, and his strikes are good. He was on a pretty good win streak coming into this, so he is good. And Gamrot's striking is pretty good too. But his cardio is the issue, because he just has to back up for the last 30 seconds of the second round, even though he still clearly wins. Going into the third round, which Gamrot I think probably wins this too, but he goes for a takedown early and is unable to get it, and then Ludovic Klein's able to get some striking off. He never lands anything too clean. Honestly, they probably just match each other. And Gamrot never goes away or anything like that, but you can hear Gamrot breathing, huffing, and stuff like that. So, and he looks at the clock at like 3 minutes into the third round. He's looking at the clock. So again, another Chimaev kind of thing. So it's 2 things to me. The first 2 rounds, he goes at like a pretty crazy pace and whoops the shit out of Klein. And so it makes sense that he would be tired. So maybe cardio is not really the issue. The issue is his finish ability. If you can't get somebody finished, you got to be able to make it all rounds, or your cardio has to be good. And if your cardio is not good, you have to finish people, or whatever. I think that makes sense. One of the 2 of those, you can't. But anyways, so those are the only issues. But he looked good. Sorry, not sure. That's gonna do it. That's it. Again, the main event. They pulled the whatever. Barber couldn't do it. Hope she's okay and everything. That's not anything too bad for her. Well, there you go. I'm gonna try to. Sorry if the video quality on this is bad, or the audio. I'm still working on all these things, but I'm gonna try and get to. Also, hopefully this is better. So the reason I didn't do the other one was because the editing and stuff like that. So thank you to anybody who's listening and being patient with me. Hopefully this is okay without doing any editing. I know I mumble and I'm working on this stuff. But this way I can actually get the videos out, or the episodes out, instead of doing the episode and not editing it and ever getting it out. But anyways, we got some good stuff coming up. So thanks everybody for listening, watching maybe. And hopefully we got some good stuff. Maybe I'll do an episode on that FBI 11. And then we got the Marab O'Malley 2 is coming up. and Pena versus Harrison is on that one, and there's some other, that's a pretty good card. So I definitely got to do that one. I want to do a pre-show my predictions so y'all can see how often I'm 100% right, and then post-show and all that good stuff. But okay, thanks for listening. Until next time, I'm out this thing.